What's going on, coaches? Welcome back to the Fourth and Goal Vodcast. Today we have Coach Kent on from Arkansas. Coach Kent will be talking about all things mesh. So if you'd like to add mesh in or learn more about the different variations and ways to run mesh, be sure to stick around and check this out. Welcome, Coach. Thanks for jumping on and giving up some of your time to talk some ball.
Appreciate you having me.
So for the people at home watching this, give an introduction to yourself. How you got into football and your journey through football, and how you got to where you are today.
Okay. Well, my name's Cody Kent. I'm the offensive coordinator at Lafayette County High School in Southern Arkansas. We're a small 2A school. We average about 25 kids on our roster. That's 10 through 12 on our varsity, and then our 7th through 9th grade team is our junior varsity, and we average about 30 kids to that. And then I'm the OC for both those groups. They're separate teams, so that's it's pretty cool. And I started here last year. Last summer, I got hired. They've been historically a flexbone team, and I came in. I'm an air raid guy, so we changed it over. We made the transition last summer. We started in about July, so we just finished our first year in the air raid, more spread based, and I think we had a lot of success. But before I got here, I graduated high school, and then after that, I did 4 years in the Marine Corps, served 4 years, and got out, and then pursued my college degree after that. So I started coaching a little later than most compared to guys my age. I had about a 5-year late start. So graduated last year and always been a football guy, always been a sports guy, played sports all throughout high school, all throughout intramurals in the Marines, and just been a football guy and just studied and worked under some really great guys. When I student taught last year at Fayetteville High School in Northwest Arkansas, worked under 2 really great coaches, and Billy Dawson, he's really respected in the state, really taught me a lot. And I worked with his offensive coordinator, Coach Harbison, really taught me a lot. And then they hired Casey Dick midway through the off-season program because Billy resigned, and learned some things from Casey. And they just kind of set a good baseline for me as I was working towards my next job. And then now I'm at Lafayette County, and we're in the process of year 2, and we're just trying to turn the program around, trying to build it up a little better. It hasn't had the best success, so we're trying to fix that. And there's some issues that we need to work on, but it's just work in progress. And then now I'm here.
Brilliant. So you mentioned you're an air raid guy. What would you say is your philosophy, both on the field and off the field, in terms of coaching and player development?
Off the field, during practice and in the weight room and in meetings, I really try to be a teacher, because like a lot of the kids that we have, they haven't been exposed to our spread formations. All the terminology is just completely new to them. So for them, it was kind of like opening up a brand new book and never heard of it. So it was a huge learning curve for our kids. And we have a bunch of talent. I mean, we have a lot of guys who can play and run, and they're quick. So we have a lot of speed we can work with. We don't have very many linemen, big bodies. We're kind of small up front, but we're pretty loaded at the skill position. So it really fits our personnel. It really gets our guys in space, and that's the goal. When we get our guys in space, they make one guy miss, and it's a big play for us. So just getting them to understand spacing, getting them to understand how to get in the grass, find the grass area, and then just attack. It was a very new concept to them. So I'm still in the process of teaching that. They're picking it up slowly. And then on the field, what we're going to do is we're going to attack your number 11. We're going to find the guy that's your weakest guy on defense based on film and game planning. And we're going to try to find ways within our offense, within our schemes, within what we do as a team, and try to exploit that guy, or we're just going to attack the grass area and wherever there's the open spot. So we get a lot of odd front, soft man in our conference and the games and the teams that we play, because everyone's so scared of our speed. They play really soft on us. So really trying to emphasize the quick game with our guys, and just letting them understand, hey, just attack the grass, catch it, and then just make a play after. So that's kind of what we're working towards, and it's just an everyday grind process to get them to understand.
Right. Now, you talk about trying to teach them basically a whole new language. How do you go about installing the air raid? Do you follow with the thing we see all over the internet of the 3-day install, rinse and repeat, or do you have a different method? Like, how do you go about installing and teaching your players this system?
Right. So I have a 3-day install method set up. Now that may not be done in 3 days for us. So for us, when we started with 4 verticals, we couldn't install 4 verticals, our fast screens, stick, and then a run concept, and then a quick game concept and mesh. So we kind of struggled getting all of that done in one day. So what I did is I went concept to concept. So what I did is I taught one concept out of all of our formations until they learned it, until they knew it. We stayed on that. And then it was just a very slow process. So, it was week 5 and we were putting in our slow screen. That's how late we were to the game. So, my firm belief system is I'm not going to run a bunch of stuff. Okay. I'd rather run a couple things well instead of a bunch of different things decent. So that's the approach I took. And, we kind of struggled the first couple games because there was opportunities to make plays, but we weren't able to necessarily attack certain areas because our kids didn't know necessarily that concept to attack that area yet. So, at first we kind of struggled, but I really wanted to focus on the mechanics, the basics, stance and start, getting off the ball, running your route to its depth. And just like the small things that matter, that's really the things we focused on.
Right. And so, we speak about concept-based, learning and plays. Where did you learn this system yourself and get the understanding to a level where you could teach it as well?
I really just kind of leaned on coaches. I reached out to coaches. A lot of the advice I got from other guys was reach out, network, talk to other coaches who run the same stuff as you and ask them how they run things. And that's what I've done. I've consulted other coaches on Twitter. Twitter's been amazing for me. Like, it's absolutely been amazing for me. I've gotten so much great information through it. And then Facebook. I'm in a group on Facebook called Let's Talk Offense. Me and a couple of guys, buddies of mine who are coaches, they created it, and it's been amazing. We have Zoom meetings usually once a week or once every couple of weeks to talk about certain topics regarding anything offense, and that's been amazing. And then just finding that kind of small group of guys to kind of bounce ideas off of has been great. There's a local coach here in Arkansas that I run my ideas by, and he's really helpful. I have a great mentor in North Louisiana. He's a quarterback coach and a former OC, and he is teaching me so much information that it's hard to retain it all. So, I'm really blessed to have those guys in my life to teach me and help me. And then I just found a couple of concepts that I felt like I could teach my guys that they could run well, and I learned the ins and outs of it. I made sure I was able to understand it, know the what ifs, the if thens to it, and able to teach my guys those concepts and just rep it every day in practice and get good at it. And then my kids know, hey, if we can get really good at this, it'll open up things later. And then that's just the thought process I got to get to my kids. And coming into year 2, our off season was kind of cut short due to COVID, so that kind of cut our learning curve a little bit. But summer workouts are starting back up, so hopefully we can start improvement again.
Brilliant. And the air raid's known for having a small playbook, small set of concepts and plays that you just rep. What would be the top 2 that you lean on heavily or you enjoy and really think are essential for anyone wanting to install and run the air raid? We really focus and major in on our key screens, on our fast screens on the outside, on the perimeter, out of doubles, out of trips, out of empty. And then we're a heavy 92 team. We run mesh quite often. Kind of our staple.
It's what we kind of lean on if it's 3rd and 2, or if it's 1st and 10, 2nd and 6, whatever the situation, we could call mesh and run it and execute it. And I think that's where we really excelled, and that's kind of what we're going to kind of build towards on in the future. And it did us really well all throughout junior high and senior high. Our junior high actually ran our offense a lot smoother than our varsity, believe it or not. So our junior high film looks a lot better than our senior high film, just for execution purposes. But it just clicked for those guys, like they understood it, they bought in, and they were about it, and they repped it, and they showed up every day and worked hard, and it showed on the field.
Okay, awesome. Well, you've opened it up to talking about mesh, which has been brilliant because it's what I wanted. So obviously today you're going to take people through 92 and the different variations, and hopefully a little bit of that secret source of the if-then, because I know that's what a lot of people struggle with. Everyone knows the diagram mesh and the routes you teach, but it's what do you do after the defense tries to stop that?
Right, and totally understandable. Okay, so this is our ace formation. So this is what we start with. We teach every concept out of 2x2 first, because it's a really balanced formation for us. It's it just gets us in the right position and makes it helps our kids because they're familiar with this formation, because we like the base out of this if we can. Okay. But what we do is we teach mesh out of ace, our 2x2, and we teach it out of trips right, trips left, and then out of our 2-back formation, and then also out of our empty formation. Okay. And but what we start with is we have rules. What's great about mesh is each player has a rule, and it applies to every formation. That's what makes it so easy for our guys. Okay. No matter the formation, their rule stays the same unless a route's tagged. So that's what really helps our guys out. No matter the formation, if we call mesh, they have each skill player has their respective rule every play. So Y is going to set the mesh at 6 yards. So what he's going to do, what we like to do with him, his outside foot is going to be on the line. So his right foot in this situation will be on the line of scrimmage. That way, his left foot, when he rolls off the line of scrimmage, his left foot is going to immediately break inside, and it helps him release inside easier. So what he's going to do is he's going to set the mesh at 6. So he's going to work to this. He's going to work to the middle of the field, try to get to 6 yards, no deeper. If he comes a little shorter, that's okay. I'm all right with that. But that's what we try to teach him. And what we want to tell him to do is he's got to be over the top, no matter what. It's a non-negotiable. He's got to be over the top. And then with the X, our X and our Y are our meshers. And it's important for our guys to understand that, because that's the locked route in this concept. No matter what the formation is, Y will always set the mesh over the top at 6, and X will always come underneath. Okay. And same for him on his stance. His outside foot is going to be up, so he can just break immediately inside, and it helps him. It helps him get off his release a little better. And we teach the mesh route against 2 different coverages, man or zone. So if it's zone, we're going to want them to mesh and find the hole find the grass or the hole in the middle of the field. Yep. And we always teach slap with left hand, with your left hand. So our Y and our X will always slap with their left hands in practice. If you teach the left hand slap method, I think it just gets these guys to mesh better, because if they slap with their left hand, there's only one way for them to. X has to always go underneath, and Y always has to go over the top if they slap left hands. You do this in practice, and you even notice it in a game, that they'll slap left hands in a game. I think I have a couple clips of it actually happening. That's how ingrained you want that in their head, because it just teaches fundamentals. And if it's zone, they're gonna pop open. They're gonna try to find the hole in the area. So how we teach zone or man? Well, we tell them, hey, when you're releasing and you're getting across the field, if there's no one chasing you, it's zone, and you got to settle up and find a hole wherever you are,
Yep.
and set them up and look for the ball. If it's man, they're going to follow you. So you'll get a trailer. So if you're getting trailed, and I always tell them it's a field. You can always see it. You can always feel it. They'll run with you. And if they're running with you, once you pass the tackle, we're going to slowly work up field, and the QB should throw you in the grass in this area.
Okay.
And that's how we teach those routes. And those routes are locked. So no matter what, those are locked routes.
Okay.
No matter the formation, these guys are going to run this route no matter what. And I always tell the X, align for success. Always align for success, because he's our number one receiver. So sometimes what'll happen is he'll kind of cut a split down, and sometimes he'll just be number one. He'll be number two, and I'm okay with that. I tell him, hey, you don't have to be the number one receiver. You don't. You can be the outside. You can be the slot or the number two if you think you're having a hard time getting across. And I tell them, you align for success. These guys know that we're hard on them about their start and stance and release, but as far as their alignment, these guys know they're going to align to get the best release and to get open, because we want them guys to worry about getting open, not necessarily, hey, you want to be 3 yards here, you want to be 2 yards from the number. You know, we don't get super strict on that, because that doesn't necessarily apply to us. With the F, he's going to check and release. He's going to check. He sees nothing, then he's going to release to the numbers. So what we do is we tell him, get to the numbers and sit down. He's not going to work up. He's not going to work up field. He's going to get to the numbers and sit down, and he's just sitting and waiting on the quarterback. He's the check down in this situation.
Yep.
The Z, this is really who you're trying to get the ball to in this play, because that's really who has the most grasp. So what we're going to teach him, our base way of teaching it, we're going to teach him is an 8-step corner route. That's our base way. That's our base way of teaching it. So once we teach the corner route and he gets good at the corner, we're going to teach the vertical, just to stay vertical, and then we'll teach that, which that kind of is the same route we used on 4 verticals or any other type of mandatory outside release vertical play. And then we're also going to teach a post.
Okay.
We're also going to teach the speed out, like on 94 or the backside of 95. If some guys do that, we're going to teach that sail route.
Yep.
And then the way we teach the sail route on mesh, we tell them that you want to run kind of like a capped corner. You know, you don't necessarily have to run a clean out route. We want them to speed cut this. So they want to work up to 8, and then 9 will kind of get them towards the sideline, and 10th step, their body should be square to the sideline, and they should be pushing downhill and expecting the ball. And he kind of he has a lot of freedom right here to run the route that he wants. And the QB, last year we would tag the Z. This year our quarterback's going to be a sophomore. He's been in the system for a year, so he's a pretty smart kid. So I'm going to try to work on him just signaling to the Z. That way it cuts down our signaling, and it kind of gives the quarterback more on the field management. Kind of, he sees what's open sometimes easier than we do on the sideline, and he can kind of tell the Z what route to run. Yep. And that's game plan specific, or that's play to play specific based on how the defense is lining up. And then our H. H is kind of like our guy at our school. He's our playmaker. He's a real burner. You know, he's got the juice, as I like to say. So what I tell him, and I said, hey, based on leverage, hey, you can either run a flat route. Our flat route's 3 to 5 yards downfield, and then he's just going to sit on the tick marks and wait on the ball. Or he has an option of running a speed out. So he's going to press 4 steps. He's going to 4 steps. On his 4th step, he's going to make a dynamic cut, gain a little ground with his 5th, and then on his 6th step, he's getting to the sideline. And then he kind of wants to come downhill on that speed cut. Once you make that speed cut, you kind of want to come downhill to get separation from the defender. And that's what we teach him there. He has 2 options. We always try to communicate it, game plan. It's usually week to week for us. Yep. And for that, it's just week to week, and it's a game plan deal for us. So key points on this is the Y and the X routes are locked. They're never going to change. They're always locked. Z is a tag route based on leverage, based on grass, and then H is running an arrow or a shoot route, flat route, whatever guys want to call it, and then we teach a speed out as well. The speed out usually has been better for us because it pushes that defender vertical a little bit more.
Yep.
And then the F has just got a swing.
Okay.
Now our progression here is we do a 3-step drop. Okay, so we have a left-handed quarterback. So when he's throwing backside like this, and his reads on his backside, so his backside will be his non-throwing shoulder. So his non-throwing shoulder is the backside of any concept. His throwing arm is the front side of a concept. So when we teach a backside concept like this, he's going to take a dovetail 3-step drop. What he does, it gets his hallway set more towards the field instead of a vertical 3-step drop. His shoulders are kind of square up in the middle. We want a dovetail where we take a 3-step drop and boom, his shoulders are already facing the Z, and it kind of squares him up. It squares him up a lot better, and it makes it an easier read for him. So his read here is Z. We're going to peek the Z. Right, if he likes it, throw it. We're going to go to F. Then we're going to go to mesh. So his read is Z, F, mesh, no matter what on 2x2. We try to keep it really simple for him. And we drill this every day. This is a concept that we're going to practice every day for 10 minutes. I mean, this is our bread and butter. This is kind of like blast to the wishbone or veer to the flex or midline for the split back or whatever these heavy guys, whatever these guys are in power I, the toss sweep. It's our bread and butter. It's what we're really going to work at, and it's what we're really going to get good at because we feel like we can run this against anybody. And a majority of the time, it's usually open. Whether we're getting pressure and can't get the ball off, or we get an inaccurate throw, or whatever the case may be. But usually, if we run this play, someone's open every time. That's what's so beautiful about it. You hear a lot of guys talk about the air raid, and they're like, "It's open every time." Well, they ain't lying. If you look at film, it's usually there. You just got to find it. But this is how we run. This is how we run it out of 2x2. If we want to go trips right, H is our adjuster. He goes here. So our rules don't change. Our rules don't change. So if we get in trips, boom, F's still going to swing.
Yep.
And the H is going to have whatever route we want to tag him on. It's usually week to week. Let's just be a default speed out this week, and he's going to run a speed out here. Okay. And since the Z knows that this H is right here, he's not going to run the sail because he knows we're going to almost occupy the same space. So, and his progression doesn't change here. It's going to go Z, H, mesh. Since there's no flat, there's no one attacking flat out the backfield, we're going to use the H as the flat route. Yep. So he's going to go Z, H, mesh in this combo. Okay. And if we want to get an empty, we can get an empty and run it. We can if we want to run it to the left, we got to flip our Z. So this is it's a special formation tag. We don't get in trips left and run it because just based on our terminology and how we signal and call our plays, we can't run this out of trips left because our Z, we don't want our Y to be over on the left side because he's always got to set the mesh. That's why our guys know what routes are locked. So if we can't move our Y to the left side of the formation because he can't set the depth on mesh, so we're going to have to flip our Z. So what we do is we move our Z to the left side and then just run our mesh on the left side, and our progression doesn't change. It's going to be Z, it'll be H to the flat, and then it'll go mesh.
Okay.
I have some cut-ups of it. And this is us running it this year. Now, this is going to be a mix of junior high and senior high. This is actually our junior high. So this is a trips left formation for us. We're getting trips left here, and then we just bunch it, and we squeeze it down. Because for our junior high kids, this was a lot of freshmen and 8th graders here. So for us, we had a hard time getting our X across the field on mesh if he split out really wide. So what we like to do in junior high is we'll cut those splits down and make it easier for him to get across the field. Let me know if it's blurry or anything like that. I'm just going to run it through. This is a good one. This is a good play here because he really gets it to the X. He makes a man miss, and then he's this was a dynamic kid for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So key point here. So key point here. This is our This is our Y. He's going to come across and mesh.
Mm-hmm.
X is going to come across and mesh. He will have the out. I'm sorry. This is our H. He's going to have the out, and then our X. I'm sorry, not our X. Our Z. He will have some type of vertical release route. He'll have the sail or the corner or the out. So let's see. He gets upfield. Left-handed quarterback works to the right. Looks like we had a legal man downfield.
Yeah.
I got away with that one. Here's our junior high again. So this is our 2x2 formation. We're just squeezing it down. So this is just a squeeze for us. And it's going to be the same thing.
Okay.
We get the mesh. You know, you saw our X there trying to slap hands. He even, he does it by accident. He didn't even notice it. That was a good clip of our Z getting the ball in space.
Yeah.
We squeeze it down. There's really no threat outside the box here. There's so much grass area way over here, and that's what we want to tell the quarterback. Hey, look at the grass pre-snap. If you like it, throw it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good ball. And I think that was our first drive against this team right here. Here we get an empty right, which really huge fan of empty because teams really have a hard time aligning the empty. When you get an empty, the defense seems to get pretty confused most of the time. So we'll get an empty, and the F for the T or whatever guys want to call that, he just gets to the flat on whatever empty side he lines up on.
Mm-hmm.
And right here's a good rep of getting it to the H backside. So he gets it to the H on the backside out. So boom, he gets the backside out. And the reason why he knows this is that's the quarterback's best friend right there. The H was like, hey, I'm open, man. Throw me the ball. And in between this series, I'm like, hey, dude, why'd you go backside there? He's like, well, Kaysen told me he was open. I was like, okay, that's not always the case, man. We can't just throw it to the buddy all the time, Let's go through our progression. Here's 2x2 again. We get the backside H right here. That's our 7th grade running back. He's gonna be our guy next year. Tough kid.
Now I've noticed a lot of your junior high is from the pistol backfield set. Does that matter whether it's sidecar or pistol?
So we were a pistol run team.
Okay.
And sometimes our back would forget to get sidecar and release. That was some issues because if you release him from the pistol formation, it's really hard for him to attack the flat area. Yep. It kind of takes a little longer to develop, and we kind of learned that through our off-season analysis. I looked at the film and just noticed that we had a hard time getting him out when he was behind the quarterback. If we can get him behind the tackle or behind the guard in an offset position alignment, it really worked out better for us because it stretched the defense horizontally more. Because the great thing about this play is it really has a vertical and horizontal stretch of the field. That's what makes this play so dynamic in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Got it to the X on the corner. So here's a good teaching tape right here. So Y should come over the top and set the mesh. X should come underneath. He should come underneath and follow his zone or man principles. See here, they flip-flopped, and it looks like the X went a little deep.
Yeah.
But that's small coaching, and those are both freshmen running that route. So, and this is their first year to do it.
How do you
here's
just out of curiosity, how do you go about teaching such young kids how to throw that corner? Because that's a especially to the field, it's a big boy throw.
Yeah, right.
How do you go about getting them to do that?
So we rep it a lot in practice. So for us, well, we also had a really talented 9th grade quarterback. He moved up the last 2 games of our varsity season and started the last 2 games and broke 7 passing records for our school. So he he's got a lot of potential and a bright future ahead of him. But what we would do, we would run our mesh drill every day. So we would get him, our starter, and our backup, and we would work the crossing portion of our mesh. So the X and the X and the Y. We would work that process. So we will only have the meshers cross.
Okay.
And have the two quarterbacks take their drop and go through their progression on the ZF mesh, and then they would throw to the meshers. Mm-hmm. We would do that for 5 minutes, we would do that for 5 minutes, or if we were short a quarterback, for whatever the case may be. So while the crossers were practicing mesh, we went, and right behind them, the starter or the backup would throw the Z route. Okay. So whatever Z was running, we would throw the fade, we would throw the sail, and we would throw the corner or the post. Mm-hmm. And that's just over and over and over. I mean, he's taking his drop and he's throwing the corner. He's throwing the corner. We'll get 5 reps of that, and then we'll throw the post. Then we'll throw the sail, and then we'll throw the vertical. And we'll just get as many reps we can within our time period for that portion of practice. And we did it every day. I firmly believe that if you practice mesh every day and make it an important part of your offense, it'll be a much cleaner concept, and you'll be able to run it more smoothly. So we just practice it every day, Coach. Okay. That's my best answer.
No, that's cool. Brilliant.
So this is his first game. This is week 9. Kind of the cut up kind of started late, but this is against a cover 0 team. They're just as athletic and as talented we are, and they really get in your face and press man you. So we really struggled against this team. We got the Z, and then we really like the corner concept, the corner route against man. It really gives us the best separation, and that was a good route by our Z right there. He's a sophomore; he's going to be coming back, so that's nice. Here's another junior high clip. We're in empty right. He goes backside to his buddy.
Nice.
So we put a little motion in it. Then we shift. It does nothing to the defense, so we just kind of run our concept here, get it to our best guy, let him be himself.
Mm-hmm.
Here's empty. We get a bad snap, get a roll out. Oop. That's just him running. But
okay.
So here we did a new alignment here. We just stacked our receivers in a squeeze set, just to throw something different at the defense, And this is just a simple tag for us, just to stack our alignment. Mm-hmm. It really gave some teams fits because they didn't necessarily know what to do with the point man. So you can kind of play games with those guys and see how they defended it, and then you can kind of that's your what if then question when you see them react to this. We caught him in man, and he just hit the H backside again. He's really liking him in this game. Here we got it again. Out of trips left. So that was a good teaching part right there. So you can kind of see them right here. They're wanting to slap left hands. You can kind of see it. It's become so ingrained in their mind. Practice, they almost slap hands in a game.
Yeah.
And just get it to your guy, and then boom, 10-yard gain.
Nice.
Here's week 10. Here's our varsity guys. We got in our empty right bunch set. And we did the same thing with our varsity. We were really squeeze heavy out of mesh because we were really trying to teach that X to kind of get across the field. And if his alignment's on top of the numbers, it made it really tough. It made it really tough for him to get across, and the mesh really couldn't happen. They could kind of slow play it, or those backers would collision our guy because they'd see only one guy crossing. If you see 2 guys underneath, they kind of get a little confused. So we just had more success out of it in this squeeze set.
Mm-hmm.
I got some Washington State film too, and some other good cut-ups. And I can go over tags that we have if we have time.
Yeah, for sure.
Got a bunch of cut-ups of Washington State. They run it the best, I think. And then they're just so clean with it. So clean with it. I think I'm on the wrong clip. Yep. That all 22 film is so great, man. You can just learn so much from it if you cut it up and see how
Yeah.
they run it. So here they're out of their tails formation, or for us this will be green. Some guys call it blue. For us, it's easier to call it green because the R tells the slot it's to the right, and the L in blue makes it easy for him to get to the left. So in this situation, rules don't change. He's still attacking the flat. Z is going to run some type of whatever route he's tagged. He's got the triple threat, as I like to say. He's got the triple threat. And then we're going to have the mesh underneath. I think it ran out of trips. Trips and two-back formation, I think, is the best when you talk about mesh. And 2x2, it can you kind of get the most exotic looks from defenses when you get in 2x2. When you get in trips, two-back formation, it really kind of makes the defense show their hand.
Yeah.
You know, you get a great mesh there. They settle up in the hole, and that's nice. I mean, that's 4-yard gain right there.
Yeah.
Their receivers are just so good at settling up. That's what I want to get my guys to do. And but you know, I don't have a bunch of D1 guys. So. Here's them running out of green again. He gets it to that Z immediately, and see, there's the out. That's a good clip of him running the out route. That speed cut, and boom, that's 9 yards. You're in a way better position next play.
Yep.
Nah, that's a muddy clip. It's a muddy clip too.
What are you sort of looking for when you're deciding whether or not the Z should run the corner versus the capped out?
Right. Okay. So we look at what's the structure of the defense. Is it one high? Is it two high? Are they a zone or man team? So for example, our week 9 opponent, they were a heavy blitz cover 0. They were going to get in your face and press you because they're better athletes. And so what we really liked that week was the vertical in the corner. We felt like that gave us the best separation compared to the post or the out route.
Yep.
And so we called the corner more often than not, against the man team. Well, week 10, we played a predominant odd front 3-4 cover 3 team, or country cover 3, as they like to say. And we really like the out route. We really like the post. The corner and the vertical really didn't do us very well that week. Although that the corner was open at times when we squeezed it down, but it depends on what the defense is giving you and the time and whatever route is going to attack the grass area. And it's usually a game plan week. That's why we like to teach that Z all those different options, because based on whatever defense we get, one of those routes he has in his toolbox could win against any coverage he sees. And we try to teach him that, you know, based on leverage. It looks like he's getting a head up to the inside corner right here. Can't really tell. He looks like he's locked up. It looks like that's a man of some sort on the outside. Now I could be wrong, but based on his alignment, his hip angle, where his head's at, it looks like he's man here. So that's what we try to do. Now I was wrong. He sat in some type of zone, but for us, that's how we would read it.
Yep.
We read that depth and leverage of that corner. There's a lot of blue and green. Let's see if we can get some trips. Here we go. Here's trips right, and then they move the H to a doubles, and then just have him run a wheel. Those guys just do so well when they mesh in the middle. You know, they really find that hole. That's such a great rep right there in between number 12 and 46, it looked like. I mean, he really just sat down right there. That's what you want, you know.
Yeah.
This is a 4 or 5 yard gain. So for us, you know, we got to let them understand this is just like handing the ball off, you know. 4 or 5 yards in the air is just as good as, you know, running GT for 5 yards for us.
Yep.
Here's LSU running it against Alabama. They're going to move the F. Well, that's their running back, Edwards. Looks like it was some type of man. Alabama kind of got froze up. They lost their. Yeah, they had some type of missed coverage in the secondary, and that was a big play. And this is why it's so great. Yeah, you got him doing the mesh, got this guy coming across, and then this guy's got the vertical route, whatever it is. He's going to attack the flat. I mean, this is pretty base mesh right here against Alabama. You know, Alabama's a really predominant man defense. And boom, number 6 just gets lost back there because someone didn't communicate. Got your athletes in space. Let them make a play.
Easy.
Mm-hmm. Here's USC running it out of 2x2. And, you know, their OC was Graham Harrell this year. You know, he played for Kingsbury at Texas Tech, and he's probably not Kingsbury. He played for Leach at Texas Tech, so he really knows the air raid.
Yeah, it's speaking of all 22 film, that's a team I wouldn't mind getting my hands on. His last season's USC cut-ups.
Yeah, he runs stick a really unique way. I really like the way he does it. He doesn't send his guy on a vertical on the outside. He just kind of Harold's got some really nice stuff. Really nice stuff. He's I think he operates more of the curl too. He really works. Some guys call it 93, 96, whatever the case may be, whatever they want to call it. It's a curl concept, but they really did a good job of running that this year. I can go over some tags if we have time.
Yeah, for sure. I guess one of the questions, and I'm sure tags is the answer, but you know, we talk about that if then sort of structure and to play calling. What's one of the main or primary situations where you're forced to go from your base mesh to something else? So if the defense did whatever the primary answer to mesh is, then what's your answer?
Right. Okay, that's a good question. So for us, we don't have any tags out of 2x2 because we have one. It's a wheel with our H and our T, but it's just not as effective as it is out of trips. Right. So for us, we really just kind of stay in. We tag it out of trips more than often than 2x2. I'll go through our trips first and then go to 2x2 after. But the first one that we like to do is this dagger concept. I think Leach calls this snake. I think. Now, I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. Some air raid guys are probably going to get on to me for saying that, but it's just a dagger concept. So the Y is going to set the depth. He's going to get to 6. He's going to run his mesh, sit down in the hole if it's there, right? X, same reason, same thing. His rules never change. That's what's so great about this play is Y and X, their rules never change, no matter the tag. They're always going to be the same route. That's what's so beautiful about it. Because if you play X or Y in this offense, when we run mesh, it takes no thought process. Oh, I got the mesh. I already know what to do. And when we tag a route, each concept that we have certain locked routes. So in mesh, our locked routes are the Y and X. So anytime we make a tag, it's always going to apply to the H, T, or Z. And so what we do, we'll make a dagger tag, because what we'll see is the safety, one of these safeties are really jumping the mesh, or they're really running with the vertical or on our corner, or they're kind of cheating over. We get so much one high. It's usually looking like this. Usually we get so much one high. Usually get some type of this alignment, and what'll happen is this safety's either running with that vertical or that corner we've been hitting, and he's leaving the field open, and then we'll hit a post, or if this safety's really coming up and try to catch those meshers, because what'll happen, these linebackers will just lose sight of them, and you'll see we'll really get to the edge, and those safeties are flying down and try to make those tackles on the meshers that's getting to the sideline. So what we'll do is we'll call a dagger tag. So H is going to run the dagger, our number 2 receiver. So if it's trips left, it'll be number 2. Trips right, be number 2. He's going to run a outside release vertical. He's trying to get the outside release of the hole player. We call the hole player the number 2 player inside the corner. That way our quarterback understands it, I understand it, and we speak the same language. So when we talk about hole player, we are on the same page. We don't have confusion on overhang, the apex. No, my quarterback speaks my language. And if you can train your quarterback to speak your language, his progression and his level of mental capacity will just, boom, skyrocket.
Okay.
So what we want to do is we want to outside release and vertical this H. He's our speed guy anyway, so for him, for this route, it's a great tag for us because this guy's a 4.4 kid for us, and he can really burn it. So we want to attack vertically with him. So what we want to do is we want to occupy this safety. If he doesn't run with the vertical, this is most likely going to be open, and we want to take a shot here. And we just want to throw it in the grass. And if it's not there, we're going to have the dig run right over the middle. So we're going to press to 10 to 12 yards with our Z, and we're going to speed cut in. So we teach the dig the same way as we teach the sail. So we're going to press 10 to 12 yards, and then boom, he's going to speed cut into the dig.
Okay.
And that way our teaching stays the same. He's going to speed cut, and then the way we teach our receivers on their footwork, nothing changes. So a dig and an out route is the same footwork, except one breaks inside, the other one breaks out. So that way it's all universal. We don't have to teach a whole new route to them. When we call a dig, they know, okay, that's just the opposite of a sail. A sail breaks out, a dig breaks in, and it's the same steps. It just really helps our guys. And we really like it. If we can throw the dig route, that's what we like. You're almost getting kind of like a shallow concept back there. You're running the mesh underneath, and you're getting a dig over the top. This was really good. We're putting it in this year, and we didn't run it last year. I've consulted other coaches, and we're going to put this in this year because I think it gives us an answer to some defenses we're going to face. Because if this safety stays at home on the dig, we have the vert. Yeah. And if he wants to run, if he's a true cover, and if it's true cover 3, which we're getting a lot of, and he's really pressing deep, and this corner's really pressing deep, the middle of the field is usually pretty open in the intermediate area. They're trying to stay deep and not get burnt. So if they're gonna try to take away the deep, we're gonna try to hit them intermediate. And if we can hit it intermediate right here, with our guys' speed and ability, usually it's a big play if we can get that ball deep downfield.
Right.
So this is our first tag we're going to put in. And after this, we're going to have a wheel. So we're going to send our H on a wheel.
Okay.
So what his footwork is, he's cutting his speed out, his 4-step speed out in half. So he's going to go 1-2, run his speed out, and he's going to sail his speed out. The key point here is when he breaks to the sideline, he's got to throw his head at the quarterback. He's got to sail the speed out. And what he's been doing, he's already been running this route all night. He's been running the out route, right? So he's going to sail the speed out, and then boom, then he's going to get vertical on the wheel. Right? And then anytime a wheel tag happens, Z is on a post.
Right.
That's his note to say, hey, I'm going on a post. And then our progression stays the same. It's going to go Z. And let me retrace. So anytime we tag a concept, the tag trumps the original progression. Okay. So our usual progression out of trips would be ZH mesh. Well, our tag, we tagged H. So what we're trying to look here, we're reading the corner. The corner takes off with the Z. We're gonna hit that wheel immediately. Okay. So his read now is wheel, post, mesh to T. So he's gonna read the wheel, then he's gonna go to the post, and then he's gonna come back down to his mesh, and we're trying to pick on this corner. If the corner runs with the Z, wheel in theory should be open. If he kind of stays home and runs with the wheel, maybe we can hit this post early. If not, we're going to just continue working through our progression here. And that's the only tags that we carry. Now, okay, let me go back to 2x2. I forgot about that. So if we're in 2x2 and we call, and it's H wheel or double wheel. So we can either tag a H wheel. So anytime we call a wheel with the H, Z knows, hey, I'm posting. Yep. Because we can H wheel it, and we can also so for us, this would be ace H wheel. And we can also So this is ace H wheel, or we can go ace double wheel. So the double wheel applies to your T or your F.
Yep.
And what it's going to do is going to send him way up the sideline. That's our only 2x2 tag. See,
Okay.
because for our guys, we want to try to keep it simple.
Right.
So we don't want a bunch of tags. Now in our junior high, we may only have the wheel tag, because with our junior high quarterback, probably going to be an 8th grader, he doesn't have the arm strength that our freshman did last year. So, we kind of have to adapt to our skill set. But out of 2x2, we're either going to have an H wheel tag or a double wheel tag. And it's the same out of trips. We're either going to have an H wheel and a double wheel, or our dagger tag. That's the only ones we're going to carry this year. I think it's easy enough for our kids to understand. It's easy for our kids to grasp. And I got some good cut-ups of it. I don't have any cut-ups of us running it because we're applying it this year. But here's out of trips. So with the dagger concept, what you're going to get is you're going to get the mesh here. You're going to get the mesh over the top. You're going to get that flat area. And what's really important is you're going to see this vertical release, and he's really got to get that. And then what you're going to see is he's going to come and he's going to get that dig route, right? Well, that looks a little short. He's going to really, really press vertical and then work 10 to 12 and then get that dig over the top.
Okay.
You see, he had an inside release there. That dig is there, but he went to the flat, it looks like. Yep, hit the mesh in the flat area, drop.
Okay.
I really like this tag. I'm really excited about calling this year because I think it's going to really do well for us. Because what you see in some situations is the secondary, they'll run with those really longer developing routes, and it really gives a great yards after catch opportunity if you get it down to the mesh guy.
Yeah.
Because usually if you're just running your base mesh, your secondary is usually pretty stay at home. But when you run them off with more vertical concepts, it kind of pushes them deeper and allows for more yards after the catch. Right. There's a great throw to the dig.
Yeah.
He's got all day. We don't have all day like that. We got to be a little more quicker with it. Yeah, we struggled a little bit, but we were a full slide team last year. We're going to go to big on big vertical set this year. I think it's going to help us out. I think it's really going to help us. So this is in trips left right here, and they're just running the dagger. So number 1's got the dig, number 2's got the vertical, and then your number 3 has got the mesh. So got it to the mesh, backside, big play, 10 yards, first down, nice.
Fair.
Yep. And I got to looking at film and analyzing our mesh every last year, and man, we just were. Someone was open. We just had to work our progression. And, usually we had some type of breakdown whether it was protection or we had to scramble, or something happened where we had to kind of rush our progression. And usually there's him hitting the vertical on the dagger tag.
Wow.
And it really was a great concept for us. It's just my thing is you have to commit to it. If you don't commit to it and you're just going to run it like you're just going to do it routes on air and you're just going to call it here and there, your mesh guys really need those reps, because that's what's the really tough part about this concept, the mesh rep, the meshers. Now the Z and the H and the F, those guys, those routes are in other concepts, so it's not super new to them. But this mesh, the two meshers, that takes a lot of practice. They need to learn how to understand how to sit down in space, sit down in backers, because you may get these linebackers, you got 2 guys at them, they don't know what to do. Sometimes they'll freeze up, like in that situation. Because what's a high school, most high school guys, linebackers, they're taught, okay, if a crosser's coming at you, you're either picking them up or you're alerting the other backer that you got a crosser. But if you got 2 guys coming, that really screws up with their rules as linebackers in coverage-wise. So, especially in small ball 2A where we play, it's really well. It really works really well if you can execute. And for us, we see a lot of zone. We see a lot of soft man. So the backers are always. You never know what the backers are doing. So those guys seem to always be confused when they have to drop into coverage. So
Right.
we really hit the mesh pretty often whenever we run it. I think I got a couple wheel cut ups too. Looks like they're having a lot of success with the backside in that dagger concept.
Just yards,
So here's,
yards for days.
Do what?
Just yards for days by the looks of it.
Yeah, man. They get. You just with this play, you're stretching them horizontally so much. I think that's what really is the bread and butter of the mesh. You really want to push it downfield to the Z. Now, I mean, ideally, in theory, if you can get it to the Z every time, that's what you want. But in theory, doesn't always apply to real life. So, I think if you can stretch that defense horizontally with those meshers, and then the back coming out the backfield, I mean, it really puts a lot of pressure on these linebackers. Man, they're the ones usually covering the backs or the inside receivers, especially if they're going over the middle. So you're really getting matchup issues whenever you send those guys on those double crossers. Here's a really good double wheel tag in the out of blue. So the S coming out the backfield on the wheel, and then look, the corner got caught up chasing the mesh. So he slipped in right behind that corner who got kind of caught up, and now you got a big game.
Yep.
And we teach on our wheel route out the backfield. We got to tell them, man, you got to get on that horse and you got to run. It's a track sprint. I mean, you got to take off because that wheel is such a long developing route. See, he's got just running around, and that's not a good one. Here's a double wheel. They put a guy in motion. They moved the H, so they motioned a 2x2 and double wheel them.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a really good way to put your flavor on it. Put a guy in motion, and then send him a wheel. He's already running full speed. He's got a head start.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great addition if you're a motion guy. We motion a little bit, not much, but if your guys can handle it, I think it can really put a lot of stress on the defense, because if you got that guy running full speed already and a guy's not, he's got an advantage from the jump. There's a good ball right there. That's a T wheel right there. Here's another local high school. I hope I don't get in trouble for playing this, but it's a team out of Little Rock. They're running mesh in the goal line right here.
Oh.
Yep. And they run a wheel. He just gets lost. He gets lost in the action there.
There's no one.
Yeah, I mean that the mesh. If you can teach it and you can get your guys to own it and really, really own it, it'll really work out well. Like it's been my bread and butter. We struggle with four verts, so we kind of more majored in mesh instead of four verts last year. So this was kind of we leaned heavily on this concept.
Right.
Against Wyoming, it's kind of here's a good one. Here's a H wheel tag out of the two back. He gets it immediately out the backfield. So that was a good rep there. Boom. You just get good things happen when you get your guys in space.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're gonna send H on orbit motion here. Boom. He's coming across, running the wheel, and he just hit the post. So this is a good coaching point here. So anytime we tag a wheel route, Z is automatically gonna run a post. So if he hears a wheel tag, he knows I got the post.
Right.
And boom, he runs a little skinny post, and boom, gets it. Nice game. Get your guys in space. And in our league, when we put guys in motion, it really gets those linebackers' eyes going one way. So if you wanna use motion, I'd highly suggest it. We do a lot of it on our run game. If we're running any type of whatever run scheme we're running to the right, we would motion a receiver from right to left to get those linebackers looking left. And I mean, it really helped us out in the run game. and it works the same way when you throw the ball. You just have to incorporate it into whatever scheme you're running. So getting them in motion and running them on the wheel here, try to get them a little head start. Yep.
Nice.
I have cut ups for days, but live and die by this. I'm really looking forward to running it this year. It's going to be year 2 for them guys. They should be really comfortable with it. Shouldn't have a whole lot of new teaching because I felt like we really started really, really good on our base install of teaching all the rules. And we ran it in junior high. I mean, it was one of our better plays in junior high. We didn't have any tags off of it, but we just said, hey, we're going to get really good at this. Let's just rep it and rep it and rep it. And when you hear these air raid guys say, hey, it's rep driven, they aren't lying. I mean, you really got to get out there and you got to run it. I mean, you got to run it over and over and over. And most receivers love it. They don't mind it. They like catching balls all day. They'd rather do that than block. So,
yeah.
And that's like it's a really good concept for us because when we work down to our third progression, that mesh is no deeper than 6 or 5 yards. So it's not a very difficult throw. And it's usually right in the middle of the field or right outside of the tackle box. So it's not a very high level skill throw. It's usually a little easier on our guys. So it's been really, really good to us. I'm really looking forward to adding some more tags this year and try to push the ball downfield a little more with our speed. And hopefully it works.
Yeah, no, definitely. Those cut-ups, you see guys wide open all the time. So it especially down the field. So it looks like a good one. Last question. It's one that goes on every cast. All right, so the name of the cast is 4th and goal. So scenario time. It's 4th and goal. State championship.
Oh man.
You're down by 4, so you need the touchdown to win.
Gotta have it.
Otherwise, you're going home a loser. You are on the left hash, and you are on the 4-yard line.
Okay.
So you got 4 yards to get. You're on the left hash. What's your call?
We're probably gonna get in 2 back. Probably gonna get in a blue set. Gonna get in a blue set. Well, we'll get in green flip. Really, we'll get in green flip. Put our Z over to where we're 2 receivers to the boundary, and we're gonna run mesh. So what we're gonna do is we'll push motion one of our guys to the field, and then we'll try to get the ball to our H. We'll probably tag a corner route with him if we're on the 4-yard line. What we'll do is we did that in junior high. It was the last play. It was actually last play of the game. We were in overtime. We were on like the 1 or the 3, something very similar situation to what you're saying. And we called mesh out of 2x2, but we tagged our H on a corner and out of our best receiver, and we threw it. Good ball. H just dropped it. So lost the game. So that's what I would do. I would probably get in a 2-back set, push motion one of our backs to the field, and then tag our H on a corner on mesh and then try to get the ball to our best guy.
Okay. It's a good one. I kind of figured it would be mesh, but I was interested to see the other moving parts to it. So that's good.
Smart coach once told me it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmys and Joes.
That's it. Just get your best player the ball in some space and hope he makes a play.
Give him the opportunity. That's all we want. You give him the opportunity.
That's it. Well, thank you again for giving up your time and talking us through mesh and some of the air raid. It's greatly appreciated. So definitely thank you for that.
Sure thing, man. I appreciate you having me.
No, it's been fun. For those watching at home, make sure you go follow Coach on Twitter. His Twitter handle will be in the description down below. I'm sure you add him, shoot him a DM, and he'll be more than happy to talk air raid and football and